Happy New Year! I hope your 2022 is going great so far. And if it's not, don't worry. Things will get better super soon. But while we are talking about New Year's, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Resolutions. Yep, New Year resolutions. Health, savings, better food habits, getting up early, drinking more water, meeting your deadlines, seeing your family more often, and the list goes on. Every year, as the calendar turns from the 31st of December to 1st Jan, we look forward to come up with New Year resolutions. And we do try to follow them, at least for a day or two. But what happens after that? How many New Year resolutions are actually fulfilled? Not many, right? I relate. Hashtag relatable. But do you know that this relatability is not just for us, but for a huge population across the globe? Yes, you heard it right. There are many more people like me and you who are unable to keep up with their New Year resolutions. And in this video, we will discuss why. We will discuss why do we fail at maintaining our New Year resolutions. Many surveys suggest that we are terrible at keeping New Year resolutions. But there is something so emotionally resonant about the possibility of turning over a new leaf, combined with our awareness that we should really lead better lives. This means making New Year resolutions, which is almost a universal activity, just as failing to follow through them is practically as popular. Caitlin Woodley from Cornell University and Ayelet Fishback from the University of Chicago published their research investigating New Year resolutions and found 55.2% resolutions were health related, like exercise, eat healthy, and have a healthier habits. 34.4% were work related and 5.2% were social goals. The study, published in the journal Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, found that participants believed both enjoyment and importance mattered for how successful they would be at sticking with their New Year resolution in the future. But contrary to what participants believed, the researchers found that only enjoyment predicted long-term persistence. In other words, we make fundamental choices and mistakes in assuming that we will stick to the plan to attain the goal just because something is clearly important to do. Instead, what really matters is how much we can take pleasure from our initial efforts to start anew. For example, fitness regime or a change in diet. New psychological perspectives suggest that we need to also understand better why we tend not to look after ourselves on a daily basis. In other words, why are New Year resolutions necessary in the first place? Professor Sipo Iso Ahola from the Department of Kinesiology, the study of body movements at the University of Maryland, USA, has published a new investigation of why we are so awful at sticking to fitness resolutions and health goals in the Journal of Nature and Science. The investigation points out that various surveys suggest only around a fifth of us get enough regular exercise, and yet our lifestyle, which is controlled by us, accounts for 53% of the 10 leading causes for years of potential life loss before the age of 65. The other factors are our environment and biology, along with the healthcare system. But all of these only play a 10% part in determining our health before the age of 65. If we want to change our lifestyle to improve our chances of a healthy and long life, what is required at one level is surprisingly simple. It all boils down to just 4 key health behaviors: regular exercise, non-smoking, healthy diet, and moderate alcohol use. According to this analysis, if people followed just these simple strategies throughout their lives, they would live on average 7 years longer. Professor Ahola's new investigation entitled Conscious Non-Conscious Processing explains why some people exercise but most don't. It declares understanding why we don't work out when we should. All boils down to grasping what happens when we start to think about the decision to exercise. Just how much of this decision involves conscious wrestling with yourself over what you ought to do, as opposed to what you really want to do, will predict how likely you are to keep your fitness resolve. Once you get going, you start to establish a set of health routines. These then begin to operate below conscious awareness, so you don't have to think too hard about them. Then, the benefits of exercise become a positive feedback loop. Physical activity makes us feel better about ourselves and directly improve mental health, well-being, and brain function. So, why then do all these medical and mental benefits for a more active lifestyle not translate into a more rational choosing of what is best for us? Well, this is due to an issue over freedom. The freedom to do what we want in our leisure time. Professor Ahola points out that for most people, daily exercise has to be undertaken after work. It therefore competes with other leisure activities, leading to a mental battle in the choice of what you do with your free time. Given that a sense of liberty is the defining characteristic of leisure, anything that threatens that sense of autonomy leads to strong psychological resistance. Professor Sippo contends that typically when people come home from work, it is the first time during the day when they feel this is my time to do whatever I want, and therefore they do not want to be told what to do. For instance, you have to go for a run. This is the last moment when they have to engage in making difficult choices. For occasional exercisers and non-exercisers, choosing to exercise at this precise moment is mentally straining and undermines their sense of freedom, while other common leisure activities like watching television do not. The result is the law of least effort is followed while fulfilling the fundamental need for autonomy, making the choice of a couch potato a formidable psychological obstacle for a would-be exerciser. This may mean, for example, altering your environment so that it encourages you to take exercise. It might mean having your gym clothes laid out on the couch so that they are a nasty reminder that you are supposed to be doing exercise instead of watching TV. Or choosing a time of the day where there is less competition from other activities you prefer to do. Maybe take exercise first thing in the morning or at lunchtime. Or get other people to go running with, so that knock on the door makes it more difficult to stay in watching the TV. With sufficient number of repeats past these initial hurdles, exercisers can advance to the point where a permanent choice is made to exercise, regardless of daily predicaments. Some points that can help you are to be realistic. You need to begin by making resolutions that you can keep and that are practical. If you want to reduce your alcohol intake because you tend to drink alcohol every day, don't immediately go teetotal. Try to cut out alcohol every other day or have a drink once every 3 days. Also, breaking up the longer term goal into more manageable short term goals can be beneficial and more rewarding. The same principle can be applied to exercising or eating more healthy. Do one thing at a time. One of the easiest routes to failure is to have too many resolutions. If you want to be fitter and healthier, just do one thing at a time. Give up drinking, give up smoking, join a gym. Eat more healthy. But don't do them all at once. Just choose one and do your best to stick to it. Once you have one thing going under your control, you can begin your second resolution. Be smart. Anyone working in a job that includes setting goals will know that goals should be SMART, that is, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Resolutions shouldn't be any different. Cutting down alcohol is an admirable goal, but it's not SMART. Drinking no more than 2 units of alcohol every other day for 1 month is a SMART resolution. Connecting the resolution to a specific goal can also be motivating. For example, dropping a dress size or losing 2 inches off your waistline in time for the next summer holiday. Tell someone about your resolution. Letting family and friends know that you have a New Year's resolution that you really want to keep will act as both a safety barrier and a face saver. If you really want to cut down smoking or drinking, real friends won't push temptation your way and can help monitor your behavior. Don't be afraid to ask for help and support from those around you. Change your behavior with others. Trying to change habits on your own can be difficult. For instance, if you and your partner both smoke, drink, and eat unhealthy, it is really hard for one partner to change their behavior if the other is still engaged in the same old habit. By having the same resolution, such as going on a diet, the chances of success will improve. Lastly, do not limit yourself. Changing your behavior or some aspects of it doesn't have to be restricted to the start of the new year. It can be any time. Accept lapses as a part of the process. You shouldn't feel guilty about giving in to your cravings, but accept that it is a part of the learning process. Bad habits can take years to become ingrained, and there are no quick fixes in making major lifestyle changes. These may be cliches, but we do learn from our mistakes, and every day is a new day, and you can start fresh each day. The art of success in New Year's resolutions, according to Professor Ahola, is to become more consciously aware of your habits and choices when they are the bad ones. Use this elevated consciousness to make choices that are initially difficult, but if you persist for long enough, these choices will become decisions that will further become unconscious, healthy habits. It's therefore the journey from conscious decisions to unconscious habits, through finding new pleasures as opposed to sticking to the old habitual ones. And once you master this, you will ace your New Year's resolution. And while you're adding this to your resolution list, make it a point to continue showing us your love and support. Let us be a part of your New Year Knowledge Brigade. So, you know the drill. Subscribe to our channel, like our video, comment your views. And until we meet next, stay amazing, stay curious. Volt of Vox signing off.